In central Hokkaido, the northernmost island of Japan, lies the city of Chitose, with a population of about 97,000 people. It is home to New Chitose Airport, Hokkaido's largest air travel hub. In 2019, over 25 million people traveled through this airport. In September of 2022, a traditional Ainu ceremony, Acircepnomi, was held in Chitose. Kamuy is the Ainu word for salmon, meaning fish of the deities, and they hold the distinction of being their historically most important fish. Acircepnomi in the Ainu language means ceremony to welcome new salmon. In the ritual, thanks are offered to the Kamuy for the first salmon catch of the year, along with prayers for continued bountiful fishing. The Ainu are the indigenous peoples of Hokkaido and its surrounding areas. They have their own language and believe that spirits reside in all things and honor them as Kamuy. They have also developed a unique culture, including prayer and dance. Many Ainu descendants still live in Chitose, working to pass on their culture. They ensure its preservation and legacy, including their traditional ceremonies. This program will feature preparations for the festival, the richness of the Ainu culture, and focus on their spiritual essence. This is Lake Shikotsu. Its transparency, as well as having the highest water quality, distinguishes it from among the many lakes in Japan, giving it a beautiful shine known as Lake Shikotsu Blue. In the Ainu language, it is called Shikotem Kotoho, meaning the origin of the Chitose River, and plays a vital role as a water source in people's lives, even today. Lake Shikotsu is indeed the source of the Chitose River. As one of the largest rivers in Hokkaido and a tributary of Ishikari River, it is known for being rich with salmon swimming upstream to spawn. Atop an elevated spot near the river is Chitose Shrine. It is said to have originated in the 17th century as a shrine of prosperity built by the Wajin, the Ainu term for non-Ainu ethnic Japanese who traded with the Ainu in the area since ancient times. In the 19th century, the Wajin established the Chitose River trading post to exchange various goods with the Ainu people, and it bustled with horses and canoes carrying salmon. In the past, the Ainu people skillfully navigated their canoes with poles and paddles and used fishing tools called marik, a spear with an extending hook to catch salmon. However, in 1878, the Japanese government completely banned salmon fishing in tributaries, including the Chitose River, in an effort to preserve natural resources, which was a great blow to the Ainu people. These people are searching the forest. They are looking for wood to carve inau, a sacred tool used in the ceremony for Acircepnomi, which is now a week away. The Ainu always convey their intentions to the deities of the earth before cutting down trees, and explain how they will use them as part of their coexistence with nature. Inau are offerings to the Kamuy, and new ones must be offered at the ceremony. Nakamura Yoshio was born and raised in Chitose. He acts as the president of the local Ainu association. Other members cut the trees according to Nakamura's instructions. In order to not waste wood, he finds only the trees with the length best suited to carve inau.
Each person cuts a tree, and I instruct them where to cut and which part, depending on how it will be used. I think that by looking back on this experience, each of them will eventually gain the ability to choose the right wood to craft an inau.
The harvested wood is transported to a workshop in order to be prepared to strip the bark. The bark must be removed while there is still moisture in the wood prior to drying it for proper inau. Nakamura observes the length and characteristics of the wood and instructs on the direction to strip the bark.
In Chitose, there is a saying that when making inau, to use mizuki wood.
Mizuki, also known as dogwood, is a deciduous broad-leafed tree that has long been considered superior to other lumber, as inau made from it are believed to transform into silver in the realm of the Kamuy. Once the bark is stripped, the wood is dried for several days. It is now 4 days before the ceremony, and the inau are being carved. The dried mizuki wood is checked for moisture. During chipsanke, a ceremony to launch a new canoe to pray for safe travels, inau are placed at the bow and later burned as offerings to the fire Kamuy and other deities during the Kamuy Nomi ceremony. They work in the hope that their people's prayers will be granted. This is Suehiro Elementary School in Chitose. Here, a variety of Ainu culture classes are taught in order for children to learn about the culture, the value of life, and coexistence with nature. It's the first and only place in Japan that a traditional Ainu dwelling, chise, has been built on school grounds.
同じね水着で作るんだけどさ、これはね稲うっていうのがさ、で、そう稲うっていうのがたくさんあるんだよ。この形の稲うが一番なんか有名だけども。
The Ainu Cultural Class Initiative began in 1993 and was praised for its lessons, becoming an official school subject in 1996 and held throughout the school year. Teaching the class is Nakahara Naohiko.
There are 100 hours of the Ainu culture curriculum for all grades, half of which are taught by local people, Ainu association members, and Ainu Culture Preservation Society members as instructors. In the remaining 50 hours, it is our role as elementary school teachers to expand upon the meaning of those lessons and try to make them that much more enjoyable and memorable.
Salmon Hometown Chitose Aquarium opened in 1994 and is Hokkaido's largest freshwater fish aquarium. This aquarium has Japan's first underwater observation window that allows you to see directly into the water of the Chitose River and observe salmon in their natural habitat. An Ainu culture class field trip from Suehiro Elementary is being held in the canal behind the aquarium. First, they learn about the traditional Ainu fishing method, marek.
皆さん、鮭のこう身をこう取って皮にするんですよ。今日。
This class teaches the children the preciousness of life. They learn how to use the hooked spear, marek, to fish for salmon.
これ重たい鉄の鍵がついてますから、はい、トーンとくるとその重みでくるんと回って引っ掛けるとね。はい、はい、引っ掛けたら、はい、でこうまず当たったなと思ったら引きます。引いて上げます。で川岸の方にこう乗せて。
Now it's the children's turn to try. Another child takes a turn. But it's trickier than it looks. Will their persistence and concentration pay off? The key is to put the marek into the water and wait quietly for a salmon to approach. This time, they catch one. Next, they learn to skin the salmon. The lesson is to learn gratitude for the natural blessing, using Ainu knowledge and methods to use every part of the fish. The salmon's meat is for food, while the skin is used for shoes and other garments, letting no part go to waste. Every part of the salmon has value for the Ainu.
Okay. はい、取れました。喧嘩しないようにね、順番に。
なんかいろんなところをさばいてるところとかを見れてなんか勉強になった。心臓が触ってみたら動いて面白かった。今年初めて川に登ってきた鮭をアシリチェプノミっていうね、儀式で魂を送ります。そしてカムイに感謝します。
The important thing is for them to feel the weight of life. It's not about killing and taking a life, but receiving that life and sending the soul on its way, which I think is a good way of thinking about and understanding life that everyone should have. When you buy meat or fish at the supermarket, you may not think about that aspect or even notice. But during our classes, everyone clearly feels the importance of cherishing life.
The idea for the Ainu culture class and building a chise at Suehiro Elementary began with Sasaki Hiroshi.
I felt it was something very important to me. By experiencing something yourself, you assign greater meaning to the experience, which I believe is something that can fill in the gaps in the children's learning abilities. And the lessons become more and more interesting, which is why they've continued. When I taught the children what I enjoyed, the children responded very well, and it continued on to be adopted elsewhere. We are teaching Ainu culture, but I hope these lessons will teach children how to approach various other problems as well.
This is a water wheel to catch salmon on the Chitose River, dating back to 1896. This practice of catching salmon migrating upstream is actually a conservation effort. After spawning, they are artificially hatched, raised to maturity, and released into the Chitose River again. As of November 2nd of this year, approximately 470,000 salmon made the journey up the Chitose River. This was the third highest number in its recorded history. Improvements in their spawning environment this year are thought to be responsible for the increase in salmon. It's now the day before the Acircepnomi. 100 salmon to be used in the ritual are transferred from the tanks at the waterwheel to a tank on a truck. The truck carries them to the site of the Acircepnomi ceremony. The salmon are released. A canoe constructed the previous year is also launched. It will be used to catch the salmon at the next day's ceremony. Other preparations were also being made. This Ainu song has been passed down through generations to sing while making tonoto, in the hope that the alcohol offering for the Kamuy will turn out well. For the last 10 years, Ueno Ayumi has been in charge of making tonoto for every ceremony.
This September was a little cooler than usual, so the fermentation had finished early and the temperature had dropped, which was perfect for straining. It's not too sour and just the right taste. It's perfect.
This is a ramen shop in Chitose City. 19-year-old Tochigi Kazuki is of Ainu descent. He's been working here for a year and is already in charge of the kitchen. Tochigi has been playing the important role of catching salmon with the majestic during Acircepnomi since he was 14 years old. He participates in all of the Ainu traditional events and is learning as much as he can about the culture.
I think the most important thing is to continue the oral traditions. The more young people actively spread the word, the more people from our parents' generation come out and participate in the ceremony, letting everyone know we are all connected by being Ainu.
The day has finally arrived for the Acircepnomi. The ceremony honors the deity of water, Wakka-ushi Kamuy, the deity of land, Shirikoro Kamuy, and the deity of the village, Kotankoro Kamuy. Prayers for the safety of the canoe are made by adorning the bow with inau. Tochigi now performs his part. Acircepnomi begins with the catching of Acircep, the new salmon that have just begun to migrate upstream. He sets the spear's hook, all while never taking his eyes off of the salmon's movements. The onlookers hold their breath in anticipation. The catch is over in an instant. Tochigi hands off the salmon at the riverside. It is then handed off to Nakamura in his role as assistant priest. The heart of the salmon is offered to the fire deity, Apehuchi Kamuy, and the Kamuy Nomi begins. The fire deity plays an intermediary role as the first to hear the people's prayers and wishes and conveys them to the other Kamuy. Festival priest Ishibe Katsuyuki receives the Tonoto alcohol offering, using an ikupasui to offer the inau to the fire deity. Tonoto is given to the participants as well.
Neaka wakaushi kamui neaka, shirikoro kamui neaka, kotankoro kamui neaka, koropunkiawa neaka.
Facing the altar, Nusa, prayers are made for a bountiful catch of salmon and the peaceful lives of the people. Inau are burned in the fire, completing the ceremony. This is how the tradition of Acircepnomi is being kept alive in the hearts of the people. After the ceremony, a traditional Ainu dance is performed to express respect and gratitude to the Kamuy.
I'm very happy that we were able to hold the ceremony. Salmon was the staple food of the Ainu people. It was extremely damaging to the tribes when salmon fishing was made illegal. It's my hope that learning about this history will help people understand us better.
It took time to catch the salmon, and I feel I'm still lacking in skill. The key is really just to be patient and wait. It's very important to have gratitude in your heart for the life you're receiving.
It's wonderful that the next generation is learning so much. Tochigi, who did the fishing today, is a real rising star. His future's bright. I hope he'll carry on the tradition.
2 new canoes were being built during this year's Acircepnomi. Canoe building is another traditional practice. Step by step, the canoes were successfully completed, referring to materials written 30 years ago when the canoe design was reconstructed. And these canoes will be used in next year's Acircepnomi. It's now been a month since the Acircepnomi, and the 2 new canoes are being unveiled. This is the canoe launching ceremony, Chipsanke. Prayers are offered as the canoes that will carry salmon and goods are lowered into the river. Exploring the lands of the Ainu, a people living in their ancestral lands, carrying on their rich heritage of living culture. The Ainu people and culture continue to endure and thrive, as each and every one of them build the future of Chitose. This program was made possible by the Upapoi National Ainu Museum and Park.